take you to the ground. And in KwaZulu-Natal, I'm joined by our reporter Lethiwe Mdluli in Mobeni, which is in the southern part of Durban near Umlazi. Lethiwe, overnight we saw some very intense fires and looting and really quite a terrible situation in parts of Durban. Talk to me about how today has unfolded. You've been monitoring various areas since 8 o'clock this morning. Are things getting worse? Are things getting better? Or are they staying the same?
Well, good afternoon, Sally. Honestly, it's been a long day here in Durban. The looting still continues in some parts of the city. Earlier on, I started in the northern parts of the city where I visited areas such as Mhlanga, La Lucia, and just went around and seeing how people, what people are doing. And what I can tell you about that area is that communities have come out and basically are starting to form their own community policing forums, and they are blocking off roads, telling people that they are not allowed to come in and only residents are allowed to come in. What I did see is that a few shops are open in those areas, but when you approach those towns, they tell you once you are on that roadblock that there is no food, there's no fuel, there's nothing here, and they're only allowing residents in. But coming back to now the CBD where I was a bit earlier on, there are still a few looters in that area. They are still looting, and police are in that area at the moment, basically trying to disperse crowds. We also spoke to a group of people that have come together and they're trying to clean up. Basically, they have started a cleanup operation in the Durban CBD, but that's not working because they are cleaning and then the looters come and they start looting. Other buildings are still on fire. At the moment, I am in Mobeni in South Coast Road near Umlazi, and we were told earlier that people are actually forming groups and they are mobilizing to come to this area because there are warehouses here that store a lot of food. Currently, the looters are looting a Tiger Brands factory or a Tiger Brands warehouse. What I can say is right now a police van just pulled on the side, but when we got here there was no police in sight, and that's why we couldn't actually go closer and show you exactly what is happening. I'm just going to step out of shots and my colleague Francois Grobler is going to show you what is happening behind me. There is thousands of people looting and just basically helping themselves to whatever they can get. One police van I've seen, you can see one police van right now on the road, but since we've been here, we're actually standing next to a private security company because we couldn't find the police for safety reasons.
So really what we're seeing here is possibly, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding, people gathering for another night of looting.
Exactly, Sally. We've heard that people are mobilizing in townships such as Umlazi and Lamontville, and they will be hitting this area. Like I said before, there are a lot of warehouses on this road, such as Tiger Brands and also other warehouses that store a lot of food. So we've been told that people will be mobilizing and coming to this area. I'm sure police have this intel, and they have also someone has told them at least that people are actually making their way here. This has been going on for hours. So obviously police should be here monitoring this area, but they're not. And like I said, we only saw one police vehicle, so it's really bad. And we are basically in preparation for another looting spree here in the Durban CBD and also in the southern parts of the city.
Just remind me, you did touch on it, but just to give me more clarity, if you want to get petrol in and around Durban at the moment, if you want to get bread and milk, how easy is it?
Well, Sally, it's actually very hard. Residents from Umlazi, all the petrol stations there are closed with only one petrol station in V section that is currently open. And I'm sure by now it's closed because it's been open since yesterday. In the other townships that I've visited earlier on this morning, including KwaMashu, we went there and no petrol station was open. The only petrol stations that were operating were the ones in Umhlanga, in Somerset Park, but those petrol stations are not allowing anyone in. There's policing forums in that area, and they're only allowing those residents that stay there to basically get in those shops. So for people around Durban at the moment, getting petrol and getting milk or bread is very, very hard.
The AmaZulu King has just made a call for calm, and he said those of his subjects who are involved in the looting are bringing shame on the AmaZulu nation. From what you know, is that likely to have an impact on people's behaviour?
Well, Sally, to be honest, I think it will have some impact because there's a lot of people who are supporters of the AmaZulu King. But in places such as the townships, I don't know how much power he wields in those kind of areas. But we'll have to see. Hopefully people were listening and they actually took in what he was saying. The looting seems to be dying down in some parts of the city. We haven't heard much in Pietermaritzburg. Also on the N3, many roads have reopened today. The M4 heading north, the M4 heading south, and also the N2 and the N3. So that tells you that the looting is dying down a bit, but it's still happening, and I'm thinking that people are still going to go at it. Hopefully the message from the AmaZulu King will be helpful, and some of his followers will actually start saying, okay, this is enough, we are not doing this anymore. But I'm not sure if he holds that much power in urban areas such as, and also in townships. Hopefully the message though has been heard by some of his supporters.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for bringing us that update from where you are, Durban South, near Umlazi, where, as you say, it looks like people are preparing to try and loot warehouses in that area. That is our reporter Lethiwe Mdluli from Durban.